We all have heard about the story of a man and his team looking for the water of life. Why were they in search of that water? It's simply because from time immemorial, human beings have been in a good search of what will keep them alive, or should I say, they want to be immortal, because we know that definitely humanity is vanity. Everybody's going to die, actually. Of course, that is found in spirituality, even in science. Science over time, in the last how many billions of years now, science haven't been able to provide a solution to eternity. Of course, recently there has been a lot of research from the scientific world trying to probably create an alternative to life. We don't want to miss our loved one. When someone dies, we cry because we are going to miss such person for their kindness, for their warmth, for their love, for what they do. Of course, if you want to know your value, leave your environment, leave your family for maybe a month, maybe half a year, maybe a year or more than a year, and see how you are going to be missed. We're not going to be talking about how much of what you should do to be missed this time, but we're talking about the reality of life, because when people die, we miss them. Their loved one miss them. And the reason why we're missing is simply because when they die, they are gone forever. They're not coming back to this world again. You've got grandfathers, you've got grandmothers, grandparents that you don't want them to just disappear like that, but death is inevitable, you know that? Okay, now let's quickly zero it down to the main issue of this episode of Money and Technology today. Okay, in case you're just joining us, this is Money and Technology reaching you from this mega channel, and I am your guide and your tech guide, talking about Ajara Ahmed Tijani. Today I want to talk about that scientific technology, that technological advancement that is now the world order, trying to provide, or let me say provide a solution to death. But hey, this technology is here to save your loved one. That means if you have the required resources, if you have the amount of data in terms of, I'm not talking about, topology here, or to maybe, whatever name you want to call it, but I'm talking about a science, a technology that is here to save human beings, that long after you must have died, people still have access to you to talk about it. Ladies and gentlemen, what am I talking about? I'm talking about Metaverse Immortality. Now, you must have heard about Metaverse before. Oh, I apologize if I have not been able to talk about Metaverse on this channel, on this, on this platform. But hey, I promise you, next episode, I'm going to dig deep into what Metaverse is all about, so that you have a clear picture of what I'm talking about. But today, I'm just going to give you a leap into what Metaverse is all about and how this is saving the loved ones. Stay with me as I take you into that journey of immortality. I'll be right back.
Nobody wants to die. I don't want to die. You don't want to die. But there's no other way. There's no means of keeping the life, of preserving the life, because we're all considered mortal. Because we're going to die someday. But here is a solution. Metaverse, life forever, as it is here to save a lot of people. Is here to life to some people even long after they die. Somnium Space is developing a way for people to talk to their loved ones even after they die. The company is developing a way for people to talk to their loved ones even after they die. Well, all it requires is a massive amount of personal data. Almost 5 years ago, Arthur Sikov's father was diagnosed with an aggressive form of cancer, which will ultimately kill him within a few years. The news of his father's illness devastated Sikov. At the time, Sikov's children were just a few years old, and pained him to think that they might grow up without a memory of their grandfather. In those moments, he started to wonder if there was some way in which his children might be able to have a conversation with their grandfather even after he was gone. Sikov is the CEO and founder of Somnium Space, one of the many versions of the metaverse that have sprouted up in recent years. Unlike many of its competitors, Somnium Space is already compatible with virtual reality headsets, allowing for an immersive 3D experience. The death of Sikov's father serves as the inspiration for an idea that he would come to call Life Forever Mode, a forthcoming feature in Somnium Space that allows people to have their moments and conversations stored as data and then duplicated as an avatar that moves, talks, and sounds just like you and me, and can continue to do so long after you have died. In Sikov's dream, people will be able to talk to their dead loved ones whenever they wish, literally if they die. To Sikov, these are the sort of potential innovations that make the metaverse a new arena of human experience worth investing in. Sikov's moment of revelation came when he realized that awesome data collection potential of virtual reality, a technology that he called magical when we spoke. The amount of data we potentially could record about you is probably on the magnitude of realistically 100 to 300 times more than when you are on a mobile phone, he said.
Yeah, I think the best way to understand what's happening is to kind of realize that the future of the internet, the next iteration of internet, will not be flat. You know, it will be spatial, it will be visual, and it will be in VR. And the reason why VR is so important, and you know why I'm here right now, and generally why many more people on board every day, is that this is first time where this technology allows us to consume data or virtual data in the same way as we consume in real life. So for me, you know, the light goes in my eyes, the brain analyzes it, and suddenly I see the building. You know, I'm standing right in front of this huge building. For you on the screen, it's kind of like, okay, it looks big, but I feel the scale, right? If I look up, I can tell how far and how high it is, and that's the first time where technology is able to mimic the real world in a way how we humans are used to consume the world and to look at the world, and that's why it has such a deep impact on every person, and that is why we would be communicating in this matter, or majority of people in the world will be using VR every day within the next 10 to 15 years. It's inevitable. And
virtual reality technology can collect the way your fingers, mouth, eyes, and entire body move and quickly identify you more precisely than fingerprints, Sikov said. Available research backs up his claims here. One October 2020 study published in Nature, for example, concluded that after less than 5 minutes of tracking people's body motion, virtual reality technology could identify someone with 95% accuracy out of a group of 500 people. That's why VR is so powerful. Somnium Space has also invested in and partnered with Tesla Suits, a company with no relation to Elon Musk. Now, at the mention of Tesla, Elon Musk comes to mind, and that is developing, of course, Elon Musk is developing a full body haptic suit for VR. The suit will not only allow those wearing it to receive electrical signals comparable to human touch, but also provide extra data thanks to the inclusion of a medical grade biometric scanner that collects cardio and stress levels, according to Sikov. Sikov also claimed that the data would be able to collect how you speak and sound, though he didn't provide much detail about how that will work except to make a passionate mention of how he sometimes gets tricked for a few minutes when speaking to online chatbots. The same will happen in VR with time, he suggested, but even more convincingly. With all that data stored, Somnium Space will then work to create an immortal mirror image of users with the same visual movements and manner of speech, the stuff of an exhausting amount of science fiction ranging from Dollhouse to Dune to Man of Steel, the plot of which revolves around Henry Cavill and Michael Shannon fighting over a thumb drive containing a sentient representation of Russell Crowe, who, though long dead, sought to mentor his son Cavill. The first step is to start the process of recording and storing the data of those who wish to pay for and partake in Live Forever mode. Somnium Space plans to get underway on it this year, though it will limit the data collection to the movements and sounds users make when they are on their own plots of land, known as parcels in Metaverse parlance. Somnium Space hopes to roll out the first set of AI versions of its users in which people will be recreated as avatars with their movements and basic conversational abilities by next year. But the beauty of the idea, according to Sikov, is that this other version of you can continue to evolve alongside artificial intelligence technology in the coming years, even if all the data was collected years ago. Let's say you die or someone dies. Sikov explains that with the same amount of data we collected about the person, with the progression of AI, they can recreate him or her better and better over time. The prospect of a virtual reality company having access to that much data about its users is concerning to say the least, something Sikov didn't shy away from when he was asked. That's why Facebook is so scary. He said the first time they spoke, it's scary to have Facebook as the leading metaverse. Unlike Meta, formerly known as Facebook, Somnium Space doesn't make money by selling people's data to advertisers. He said, "We are decentralized world," Sikov said. "We don't want to know your name. We don't care about you or who you are." Sikov believes he is creating a more responsible business model that he hopes will allow users to feel comfortable giving over limitless amount of data to the company for analysis. The Live Forever feature will be off by default, and the company says it will not collect data on anyone unless they opt to pay for it. The company hopes to make the price as low as possible. Somnium Space charge early adopters around $50 for a year, $50. But Sikov predicted the intensive cost of data storage will always necessitate some payment. Those who choose to partake will be able to turn the record function on and off as they wish and tell the company to delete all data should they ever choose, though Sikov noted that the more data Somnium collects, the more accurate the other version of you will be in the future. One of its landowners died unexpectedly in what Sikov described as a tragic moment for the company. At the family's request, Somnium Space transferred ownership of his parcels to a friend who built a memorial that still stands within the metaverse. But even with all the ethnic preparation and experience the company can muster, there will be inevitable and justifiable ethical questions about allowing a version of itself to continue on in perpetuity. What if, for example, the children of a deceased Somnium Space user found it painful to know he was continuing on in some form in their metaverse? These things we'll have to figure out with our legal team, Sikov said, and also with our users. Of course, there's a lot to talk about when we are discussing the issues around metaverse. This one is special, kind of course.
You gotta miss me when I'm gone. You gotta miss me for my talk. You gotta miss me for everywhere. You gotta miss me when I'm gone. Okay, so this technology is like simply telling us that nobody's gonna be missed again as long as you have the required data, the amount of data that would pull your life back and your loved ones, or let's say a husband losing his wife. or a wife losing her husband, or parent losing their child, or children losing their parents, and you don't want the feel of their presence to just disappear either from your memory, the environment. There's no amount of any human fixation that you can put in place that would bring the loved one, the lost one, back to you. But this science is telling you that it is actually possible way long after they are dead, But to some people, you're going to be looking at it like, oh, this is blasphemy. Like, are you saying that, the spiritual documentation about death, that the moment you are dead, you are gone forever. Nobody's going to be, be recalling you back again. But hey, like we always tell ourselves on this platform, there is no limitation. Everything is possible with technology, and that's what we're saying, that you should keep tap with the latest, the current occurrence in the world of technology, and that's what this program is for. Thank you very much for being part of today's episode of Money and Technology. Metaverse Immortality is the latest things going on around the world. I don't want to die, you don't want to die, so what's the way forward? Let's go get Metaverse Immortality, and see you again next time. I remain your humble host, Ajara Ahmed Tijani. It's a bye from me.